Hello and welcome to It Paints Me. This is a gothic horror visual novel that was made for a game jam, so it's supposed to be quite short, but has 3 different endings, so let's see which one we will get. Every night I find myself alone in the studio, curtains drawn tight, my neat row of paints, palette and brushes in the same place on the drawer by the easel. The canvas upon it sits, as always, unfinished, Marie's half-painted face frozen in silent song. It's late out, as it always is when I awaken here. Marie is nowhere to be found. She must still be at the theatre, even when the curtains fall and the stage lights dim. The night is forever young to its star sopranos. I would always wait outside the dressing room, roses in hand, scores of other bright-eyed admirers spilling through the halls, though she alone was mine. And I was hers. It's cold, bitterly cold tonight, but still I draw the curtains and open the windows wide. There's a stench in the room, deep and damp and sickly sweet, that I can't ever seem to be rid of. Besides that, the fumes from the linseed oil make my head spin. Like every night, I measure out my paints, arranging the small dabs of color on my palette from lightest to darkest. Titanium white and cadmium yellow to corpse brown and lamp black. Is it really called corpse brown? I've never heard that. I wet my brush with oil and gently start mixing the pigments. It feels just a little bit like magic, watching them swirl and mix, forming new colors from old. Okay, our first choice. I'm gonna do a sneaky save here. Love the visuals even in the menu. Okay, I paint her hair or I paint her face? I'm gonna go with hair. I blend a dark deep red on my palette as I envision her hair in my mind's eye. Marie rarely ever bound her locks in fashionable plaits or ringlets, not even on our wedding day. I remember how her glossy black waves almost shimmered beneath her veil. The color on my palette is as dull as mud. I sigh and blend it into the background instead. I apply my paint with a generous dab of oil, but it seems I didn't have to. The canvas is still wet from the last night and the night before. I must have painted and repainted the same background countless times. To say it's difficult to paint by lamplight, my muse nowhere in sight, is an understatement, of course. But lately, these nightly hours are the only time I find myself able to lift my brush. I stop every few strokes.
Spirits, it hurts.
I had joked that the pain that forced me away from the tailor's shop meant I could finally return to my paintings at the very least. I was never any good at humor. Marie had sensed my worries, consoled me sweetly, in her voice that could charm stone to life.
Oh, Sam, don't worry. I have roles lined up for months. Go ahead and paint. We can still live comfortably.
It hurt, a small part of it did, beyond the physical, beyond the ailments, to seek her permission. To be unable to care for my darling the way I had when we were young, brimming with talent, but crushingly unknown. Well, she had been. I was, and still am, nothing. But perhaps, finally, it would now be my turn to bring my vision to the world. If only it didn't hurt so damned much. Time passes, and I still don't manage more than a few strokes, a small patch of dark over an already wet canvas. Or perhaps time hasn't passed at all. The broken clock on the wall would suggest as much. Perhaps the seconds have lain still, the world outside unchanging, and I, the only thing that moves. Have I moved? Is repeating the same brush strokes like a clockwork doll movement? I shiver and sigh. Perhaps sleep would be a better endeavor. Perhaps the next night will meet more success. I stand, setting aside my paints and palette, and slowly move to shut the windows. I stop. There, out in the front garden, barely lit by a street lamp, stands a figure that can only be Marie. She bids goodbye to another figure, tall and broad-shouldered, and then she laughs, a beautiful laugh, a heartfelt laugh, and embraces him before he makes his reluctant exit on a carriage stopped by the gate. For a moment, I don't know what to think. A friend, a co-star perhaps, that amiable tenor she mentioned every now and then. I didn't see his face, but Marie's social circle had always eclipsed my own. It must be. But why would he come to our home? Why would she laugh that way? In the garden, in the midst of walking to the front door, humming to herself, Marie suddenly looks up. For a moment her eyes go wide, and she blinks as if shaking herself from a daze. I instinctively step back from the windows. It does seem a little suspicious, but is he just seeing things? Being holed up at home, it sounds like? Perhaps it's guilt that makes me do so. Marie is finally home, and oh, I've missed her so. How could the first thing I think upon seeing my darling be the worst thoughts my mind could conjure? For the first time in many, many nights, I feel just well enough to leave the studio. I'll prepare Marie a pot of her favorite chamomile tea. I listen as she tells me of the nights, the theater, the 1,000 small anecdotes she never runs out of, and maybe, just maybe, ask her again to sit for a portrait for me, like she used to. The house feels larger than it used to. Perhaps I was shut in the studio too long. Still, how could I so quickly become a stranger to my own home? The memories are fuzzy. The years blur together like a wash of oil colors. My mother and I, carrying our sparse luggage, stepping inside for the first time. My stepfather, laughing, his elbows on the breakfast table, chattering over something he'd read in the paper. Then silent hallways and empty rooms. And then myself, welcoming my new bride to the solitary halls, hanging our newly taken portraits above the mantel. The walls are barren now. I feel the walls in the dark, leaving sticky trails of paint behind, tracing the places where I used to hang. The photographs or the paintings? I would think the paintings. The paintings I'd framed, the seaside landscape I'd painted on our honeymoon, the watercolor sketch of Marie that couldn't hope to capture the sheen of her hair. The still life of candles and flowers that had wilted because I took so long to finish. Even the painting of roses in a vase, the first gift I had ever given her.
I wanted to bring you some flowers, but I was afraid they would wilt before I saw you next.
You painted them. Oh, they're beautiful, Sam.
The naked walls stare blankly at me. Confused, but with nowhere else to go, I continue through the house. As I walk, I pass the furniture my stepfather left me, the shelves and tables that always seemed so large and grand as a boy, now missing or mantled on thick white linen. They remind me of corpses on a hospital table, lying dead still, covered in sheets. Very telling. Marie? I try to call out, but phlegm blocks my throat. I cough, long and drawn and wet, and then once more attempt to voice her name. Marie? It slicks off my tongue like a serpent uncoiling. I had always loved her name, so tender and sweet, free of harsh syllables. Marie. It was a name like an impressionist fleur, painted in soft strokes with a fine oil brush. It was the greatest joy in the world to join my name to hers. Silence fills the halls, a long, drawn-out silence, a held breath. Finally, my darling answers.
Sam. Is this a dream?
I cough again, another long wet trail dripping from my lips.
Is it a good dream, darling?
I don't know. It feels like a nightmare. An awful, wretched nightmare.
I limp towards the sound of her voice, so musical, so lovely, even at the brink of tears. Don't cry, darling, I want to say, but thick, syrupy liquid fills my throat. No matter what troubles you, I am here. She stands at the edge of the staircase, shaking, a candlestick in hand. The steps are sticky and wet. I inch carefully, practically at a crawl, not a slip. My darling lifts the candle as I approach. In the dark of the house, its flickering flame almost blinds me. I don't see the expression on her face as she screams.
Marie? Where are you, my darling?
Every word feels like a dagger puncturing my throat. I limp down each hall, leaving a trail of steps that feel damp and heavy, slick and wet. I try the door to our bedroom, no, Marie's room. I had started sleeping in the spare one when my coughing fits would wake her in the night. It was cold, so cold, alone, but my darling needed her rest. The knob is slick and hard to twist, my hand slipping on the brass. Finally, I managed to push the door open. Though it's completely dark when I peer inside, I know it is empty. No warmth, no flesh, no sound of sweet breath within. I continue down the hall. I trudge, my steps heavy and wet, trying not to slip over the thick, slick surface.
Marie! What's wrong, darling? Please come out! I don't understand!
The dining room is empty, truly empty. The shelves where the china and silverware were once neatly stacked now gape, hollow. The walnut table is covered in a thick white sheet, the matching set of chairs removed. I rest against the blanketed table. My hand leaves a ruddy smear against the sheet. It must be more paint, though it's hard to make out in the dark. I think at this point the only question we're gonna ask ourselves is, only one of them dead? Or both? I'd needed spectacles for quite some time, but Marie had never liked the bookish type. I continue on through the familiar yet unfamiliar house, my steps strained and slow, my breath short, sticky, wet.
Marie! Where are you? Oh, Marie! It hurts! Won't you come to me?
I hear the front door slam shut. It must be freezing cold out. Why has she gone to the garden? I tread to the sound with new urgency, uncaring of the sticky wet floors, forgetting for just a moment the pain that snaps and burns through my flesh. I reach for the oily, damp knob.
Don't! Sam! Please!
Her voice rings from behind the door.
I don't understand, darling. Have I done something to upset you?
Her sobs echo loudly. I never thought an ugly sound could come from my darling's lips, but her words...
I love you, Sam. I always will. But I can't bear to see you like this. Please, I beg of you, return to where you came. You can't be here. I've moved on now.
What? Return where? Dearest, you aren't making any sense. Moved on? I'm your husband, Marie. What on earth is there to move on from?
Please remember, Sam. You were ill. You were ill for a long, long time. And you never recovered.
I know I'm unwell, Marie, but you said we would still... Are you leaving me? Because I can't care for you anymore? Is that it?
You left me. You're dead, Sam. You've been dead for more than a year.
If this is a joke, darling, it's a cruel one. Do you want me dead? Is that it? Am I better off dead to you?
My darling does nothing but sob behind the door. How quickly I regret my words. Oh, if only I could see her face, look into her eyes, reassure her and see that she loves me still. I twist the knob with slick, oily hands.
No! Don't come out! Please!
On the other end, with a sharp gasp, my darling grasps the knob closed, pushing the weight of her small frame against the weathered wood.
Don't come out!
Wow, okay. Force the door open or let her go. I think it's time to let go. I let go of the door, my hand slicking off its oily surface.
Forgive me, Marie. I can see that you don't want to speak to me right now. But whenever you do, whatever this is about, I'll be waiting in the studio.
Yeah, I think you'll be waiting a long time. I leave the door. I leave my darling alone, sobbing in the garden. It's dark, so very dark, but dawn will soon paint that dim black sky. I retrace my slick, wet footsteps down the hall, through the hall, up the staircase, one trudging, damp step at a time.
Spirits, it hurts.
It burns. I feel no breath in my lungs. My chest could be a hollow cavity, slippery and wet, spilling with hot, sickly fluid.
It hurts. Oh, it hurts.
I stagger into a tall, sheet-covered object, the linen sliding off with the grasp of my clumsy, slick fingers. It's Marie's floor-length mirror.
No. Oh, no. No, 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 no!
Yeah, no wonder Marie ran. I'm in the studio, a dark, dim studio, as empty as it is every night. The curtains are shut, the lamps are unlit. My palette is a mess of murky colors, rust reds, corpse browns. A musky, sickly, sweetly rotting stench fills the room. I don't know why the smell of linseed oil ever bothered me. After all, I no longer breathe. The handle of the door turns behind me. Slowly it creaks open, and a figure steps inside. It's me. He limps more than he steps, and crooked motions against the floor, dragging his body along like a wet, white brush, as swaths of red pool at his feet. I watch him pull himself before the canvas.
Samuel.
He speaks in my mother's voice, a tone that could swell with warmth or derision, command or dependency, pride or disappointment in a moment's notice.
Please, give up your suffering. Give up this. Come back to the earth with me.
My hands are too slick to hold my brush. I stab it into my flesh and fix it between my bones, then dip the bristles into his blood. That's a way to do it.
Sammy.
He speaks in my stepfather's voice, but without laughter or joy. In the same cadence I imagined him taking his last breath, crimson staining his uniform, the dog tags coiled around his neck.
Don't suffer anymore, Sam. You are nothing already.
The other one was what? The icon of affliction, and this is the icon of algesia. I don't know what it means. I'll look it up later. But I mean, they're both right. Don't linger, I guess.
Forget your pain. Return to the void with us.
Okay, if you're calling it the void, that is less enticing. My brush is drying. I plunge it into his chest, wet it with his oily breath.
Sam?
And the icon of agony. He speaks with my voice, hoarse and raspy and tired, so very, very tired.
This won't make you worthy of love. Not the world's, not Marie's, not your friends or peers or critics. Come back to our grave. End our suffering. You know I don't do this for love.
I clean my brush with a paint thinner, knocking over the jar as it spills across the drawer and onto the wet, soaking floor. I dry the bristles on my worn, rotting shirt, then soak it in the thick, white mucus of his tears. My words are only partially true, just as his words are not fully wrong. Neither my rotting corpse nor the memory of what once was Sam will gain a thing from this toil. I paint the hours away, or perhaps take no time at all. The clock on the wall never turns its hands, suggesting that the world lies still, the seconds never pass, and I am the only thing that moves within it. It hurts. Oh, it hurts. Heavy, syrupy tears flood my vision, fill my throat, my chest, choking me. Every movement of my hands leaves cracks in what's left of my brittle bones. He stares at me all the while, silent, still, like a mirror. If I loved him, I would stop. I would crawl to my grave like he wishes. But I love this more than I love myself. I birth him from within me. As I create, so too am I born.
And he and I are beautiful.
Self-portrait, complete yourself. And that was ending 2. I didn't necessarily expect this to go further than when he spotted himself in the mirror, but oh dear. Yeah, this was all by a single dev, it seems. And they have some other projects that all look pretty good. And here's the cast, very good voice acting, I love that. Special thanks and thank you for playing. Thank you for making the game. Yeah, that was it. We got ending 2. Again, there are 2 other endings as well. I won't show them on here, but you can actually play the game for free. It's available on itch and Steam. I'll put the link in the description down below. And if you do play it, please let me know which ending you got. And yeah. That was very nice. I do really like the style, like this of course very painting inspired style that fits the story. That was nice. That was a very nice short experience. I like that. And I will definitely check out the other endings for myself again. So yeah, as always, I'd appreciate if you let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Bye bye.